Good morning, everyone. Welcome to week 3. I want to kick off this video by just giving a couple shout outs to everybody. Really well done on the question and answers this week. I was really impressed with the questions that were posed. Those of you who were assigned questions to write, really great work. I was really impressed with the specificity in those all around. So that was really great. I was really excited about that. And I will say I've taught this class a couple times now, and those were the strongest questions I've seen. So that really made me, as a professor, really excited to see that. So thanks for making my week. I will also say I graded the week 1 discussion posts where you had the 4 different prompts to respond to, like the Wired article. Not the Wired article, they were like TED Talks. Those were also fantastic. So really great work all around. I really just wanted to kind of start off this week by giving some good congratulations to everybody that they're doing really well. Okay, it's a little chill in the air today. I'm a little cold right now. And I need to go make some more coffee because I'm pretty sleepy. Monday morning. Anyway, okay, so we've got some of that out of the way. So thank you for doing that, doing really well on all that work. That really, like I said, made my week. I'm anxious to read the synthesis essays. I think as we go along, we have 5 of these to do. You'll find them a little bit easier. I know there was a lot of hesitation this first round, but I just want to encourage you not to overthink the synthesis essays. Really just think of it as a space where you can demonstrate what you've been reading, show how you can connect some of the ideas between readings, viewings, all that sort of stuff, and the ideas that are coming up in class. That's really the point of these essays. Sometimes I kind of like to think of it like, like double Dutch jump roping, like, like how like have 2 jump ropes going. Like sometimes I like to think of it that way, where like the essays or videos we're watching are like the jump ropes, and you're kind of like watching, waiting till you can see when you can jump in. Like you're trying to understand the conversations that are going on until you can jump in yourself. That's really the kind of a point of what the synthesis essays are. So that's what we're trying to think about for these specific assignments. So I'm anxious to read them. My goal is to read 5 of them a day. Hopefully I can stick to my goal. So I hope to turn those around fairly quickly. That way I can stay on top of the grading this semester. Hopefully. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about in terms of just kind of housekeeping stuff? I think that's really it for right now. But we are well into the semester now, so hopefully you're finding a groove in terms of, taking an online class if you haven't taken one yet, or if you have taken one, like making it, what is going on? Oh, I hate looking at myself recording videos, I just get self-conscious. Getting into the groove of the semester itself. Okay, let's talk about what we have to do this week. We're moving away from phase 1, where phase 1 was technopanics. Now we're into phase 2, which is the future of the body. And we have some really interesting stuff that we're starting to think about. Remember, with technopanics, it really encouraged us to think a little bit more carefully about being afraid of technology, and different technologies that we use currently were once feared. And so I want you to keep that mindset going forward for the rest of the semester when we start encountering new technologies that we might have hesitation about. So let's talk about what the future of the body really means. So we're here in this phase, we're going to be talking about things like prosthetics, we're going to be talking about memory enhancement, we're going to be talking about cryogenics, which is really freezing the body for use later. And that's a technology that has not been developed yet. And so that's something that's really tricky, that people are, after death, freezing themselves in anticipation that a technology will be developed so that something will occur later. So there's a little bit of a tricky line there. So we have a couple different articles about that sometime during this phase. I don't think this week. We'll go through the readings in just a minute. But these are some of the ideas that we're going to be considering. So how do technologies really question the limits of like the physical person? And so what can they do to enhance? What can they do to supplement? Like we'll talk about in terms of prosthetics. And prosthetics not necessarily in terms of limbs, but also, like I said, memory. Do we think about prosthetics in terms of a enhancement or addition in terms of like our phone? Like we have, memory available there that we could just store things in. I don't know how many times I've gone through them and like, oh, when was it? Let me take a look back. Let me search my photos to try to find when something happened. Because I'm quick to just jump to a technology instead of really kind of thinking through something myself, or even trying to think of like an actor who started a TV show or a movie or something. Like I'm much more apt to jump on IMDb than I am to kind of think it, to kind of like think through it and try to figure out what it is. So some of those ideas are going to come into play in this phase. I will say there was maybe a little bit of confusion in terms of what counts for the synthesis essay. Going back to the synthesis essay, it's so hard to say sometimes. Um, Anything that we use in a phase is up for grabs for that synthesis essay. So, for example, anything from phase 1, which was the first 2 weeks of class, you could use in synthesis essay 1. Anything from phase 2, starting today to the end of the phase, is available for use in synthesis essay 2. So just anything that's available in the phase itself can be used in the corresponding synthesis essay. So just to make sure that's clear. All right, let's take a look at what we're doing this week. Watching the weekly update. You're doing that, so that's great. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, a little Kobe Bryant finger tapping. I spent way too much time looking for GIFs, so I don't delete them. It's embarrassing how much time I actually spent looking for them. Yeah, way too much time. All right, we've got a couple of readings to do. When state of the art is second best. Inside the memory machine, creating a prosthetic hand that can feel. That's pretty neat, right? So if we think about creating a prosthetic, if you're missing a limb or, for whatever reason, maybe you're born without one or it was injured in one way or another, creating a new limb to not take its place per se, but to function as that missing limb, to replace it in a sense. And so how can we create these prosthetics to actually mimic really closely what our arms and our legs and other things actually do in terms of feeling, in terms of sensory, I'm trying to think of the right word, just sensory senses. I'm not coming up with the words. I told you I needed more coffee. So let's take a look and see what that actually means throughout the week. Then you have a couple of videos to watch. The new bionics that let us run, climb, and dance, and then my 12 pairs of legs. We have Hugh Herr, who will talk about the different prosthetics that he has in the various ways that he uses them. And then we also have Amy Mullins, who several artists and fashion designers have actually latched onto her and have designed prosthetics in terms of like for an aesthetic purpose. She is, I believe she was born without like from the knee down. I don't think she has legs from there. However, I mean, it has not hindered her one bit. And you'll see some pretty amazing stuff in these two videos. So both of those are fairly interesting. I think that she'll find some new ideas that maybe we don't think about pretty often when we think about prosthetics. And I will say I'm not trying to make light of these situations. They are challenging and difficult. But these will show that, yeah, a lot of people who have these, who are in these situations, we shouldn't think like that there is any sort of disability, that they're we've used this term more regularly now, that like differently abled. So we'll be able to see some of those ideas throughout the week as well. We watch those two videos, and then we have our Q&As. Remember I mentioned last week that I was going to remove all the instruction from the Q&A module. That's gone now. So if you do need to go refer back to, like what the Q&As are all about, or maybe how to create a good question, you can go back to the modules in week 1 and 2 and see all that stuff still there. But I'm not going to keep posting it every week. So group A, you're going to create and post 2 content questions. Group B, you're going to create and post 2 discussion questions. And remember, the questions are due by Thursday evening. Group C, you're going to respond to 2 content questions. And group D, you're going to respond to 2 discussion questions. And remember, the answers are due on Sunday evenings. That's our week this week. Let me know if you have any questions. Happy to help you out. I'm going to get busy starting to read those synthesis essays, so I will talk to you soon. Bye.